Tfilat Adam Achov Hayam Rishrush Shel Hamayim B'rok HaShamayim Tfilat Adam. O Lord, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the land and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
Thank you so much, Jeanne. I have to tell you, Jeanne had almost no notice. I talked to her this afternoon, and she enthusiastically and willingly, and what heart she put into that song. Thank you so much for setting our Shabbat mood in such a beautiful way. And now we bring forth some light as we offer the candle blessings. One moment. And do you see Alice lighting the candles?
Yes, I do.
All right. And Hi and Lynn are lighting their candles at their home.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hatlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, God, ruler of the world, who blesses us with commandments, commanding us to light the candles of Shabbat. And now that we have Shabbat has started, we embrace the Sabbath with L'chad Odi.
L'chad Odi. What? Sorry. L'chad Odi likrat kala, panei Shabbat nikabela. 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 Shamur v'zachur b'dibur echad, ishmi anu elcham yechad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'hitila. L'chad Odi, l'chad Odi likrat kala, panei Shabbat nikabela. L'chad Odi likrat kala, panei Shabbat nikabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala gam b'simcha uvetzah tol emunei am secure boi chala boi chala L'cha dodi l'krat kala Hani Shabbat nikabila L'cha dodi l'krat kala Hani Shabbat nikabila
What a wonderful way to embrace the beauty of Shabbat. And now we take a quiet moment to feel the presence of God as we hear and sing along with the watchword of our faith, Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevo Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Hear, O Israel, the Eternal One is our God, the Eternal God alone. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever.
And ever. You shall love your eternal God with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your being. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be symbols before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I am your eternal God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I am your eternal God. We remember God's greatness. And sometimes it's the smallest things that help us remember God's greatness. When we can breathe fresh air, when we can see the smile of a child, when we can hear the birds, sometimes we see something huge. And so when we are reminded of the splitting of the Red Sea, we're reminded that all things are possible. Jeanne is going to lead us in Mi Chamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neda b'kodesh, nora tehilot o sefele, nora tehilot o sefele, malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokeyam Lifnei Moshe, Zelianu v'amru, Adonai imloch, Adonai imloch, le'olam va'ed.
We look forward to a time when we truly feel at peace. We say Shabbat Shalom to welcome the peace in our hearts. We bring that fullness of our feelings about peace. And we ask for God to help us feel at peace within ourselves. That peace is sometimes about a word, shalom. Sometimes it's about a deed or an action. Sometimes it's just a feeling. Tonight we'll hear the beautiful Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam Tasim leolam. Ki ata melech adon, l'chol hashalom. Ki ata melech adon, l'chol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Baruch atah Adonai oseh hashalom. Blessed are you, God, who makes peace. Let's take a few moments of quiet, silent prayer, each of us connecting with God in our own way. You are the open door that beckons me in. Peeking around the door frame, I begin to enter your glory. You move me forward, Eternal One, to step beyond the self-made boundaries. Lift my foot over the threshold, that I might abide with you in the house of the Eternal One. I find questions waiting to be posed. My questions fill me with wonder. Sit with me, eternal teacher. Encourage my seeking as I fill my hours with mitzvot. I fill my hours with the sacred obligations that I've been taught, and I am filled. I'm filled with the deeds and I'm filled with the teachings. Send me through your door, stretching up to honor your name, sharing this wonder as I enrich myself by giving. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be a delight to God, our rock and our Redeemer.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my rock and my Redeemer. Amen.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vanenu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vanenu, Ki Ein Banu Masim, Asei Manu, Tzedakah v'chesed, Asei Manu, Tzedakah v'chesed, V'hoshienu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vanenu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vanenu, Ki Ein Banu Masim, Asei Manu, Tzedakah v'chesed, Asei Manu, Tzedakah v'chesed, V'hoshienu. Our Father, our King, be gracious to us. Hear all of our prayers. Help us to return to where we are meant to be with you. Our Father, our King, be kind to us even though we may not always seem worthy. Hear us and answer our prayers. At this time, in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, there are different traditions. One of them is to take our time between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, those 10 days, and be truly introspective, be truly thoughtful about how we have been in the world, what we have accomplished, and where we have fallen short. And as we recite on Yom Kippur, that the Day of Atonement is a day of prayer to God. And it's also a wake-up call for us to think about our interactions with people, our interactions with each other. And we're taught that the Day of Atonement that God can only forgive us for things that we have done against God's laws. But when we have harmed another person, we must go directly to that person. Now, one could say that when we harm another person, we are harming God as well. Or because God is inside us. And so there's a tradition called Tashlich, which is casting breadcrumbs into flowing water as a symbolic way of throwing away those sins. Now, it also was a way of, when it was first established in about I think the 1300s or 1400s, when it was first established, there were some scholars who were superstitious and they were afraid that people would think that this custom of throwing their sins onto the water, that people would feel like that's enough, that they don't have to come to each other to make atonement. And so there was a little bit of a controversy when Tashlich first started. There's also different kinds of rules and regulations that it's supposed to be a flowing body of water. Now, as you can see, I am not by a flowing body of water. I could have put a fake screen up to show it, but the idea is that we get rid of something. So I was thinking about, how am I going to do Tashlich when I'm not in a body of water? I'm not bringing my computer out to a lake. I had enough computer problems today as it was. And I was talking to another rabbi who told me that for every rule, that there's a way to observe it in ways that fit if you've got a problem. For instance, if you are diabetic, you're not supposed to fast. If you're on medication that requires you to eat food with it, you're not supposed to fast on Yom Kippur. If you are elderly or frail, or that it would cause you any harm to fast, you're not supposed to fast. The rules are meant to get us to the spiritual way, it's much more important to have a feeling and to have the inside. It's called kavanah, the inner intention. So one of my rabbi friends told me that a flowing body of water can be created by taking still water, like I have here, a bowl of still water, and put ice cubes in it. Because the ice cubes cause the ripple, and the ice becomes the water, and so it's a flowing body of water. And so now I have, instead of just a bowl of water, I have a bowl of water and ice, which will soon be just a bowl of water because the ice will melt. But I've also got a whole piece of toast here that is about to become crumbled toast. And I'm going to put it in the water as if I'm tossing out those pieces of things that I want to get rid of. So wherever you do to take a physical act, so now I've got just some soggy toast. Okay, that's what it is for now. And you know what? It's kind of gross. It's kind of gross. It's this soggy toast that is schmutzy, and it doesn't belong in me. It's as if I've taken it out. I've taken out something that I don't want, and I have transformed it into something that is worth throwing away. And here is what the concept of Tashlich is about, is to look into our schmutz and to see what we've been clinging on to, what has been clinging on to us that we're ready to let go of. And I was thinking about something that used to be very, very close to me. It was very, very close and just kind of fell away. And I didn't even pay attention to it anymore. But then it built up a bit, and it started to fester, and it started to make me annoyed. And so I have it. Oh, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. I don't know if any of you have this. Does this look familiar to anybody? I didn't think so. But you probably have some of this too. It used to be very close to me, and then it fell away, and now it is useless. You don't know what it is, do you? Yeah, my wife is shaking her head. She doesn't know what it is. She doesn't know where I got it. It's dryer lint. It's lint from the dryer. It used to be close to me. It used to be on my clothes. It used to cling to me. And now it's worthless. Completely worthless. I'm going to toss it in the bowl with the breadcrumbs. And it's even more yucky. This is truly gross. This isn't even going to go down the garbage disposal. This is going to have to be disposed of in some other way. This is what the Tashlich is about, is to think about, uh-oh, what's coming? A door has opened. Someone is entering my room. She's taking away. What is she doing? She's taking it away. So here's the blessing of Tashlich. When you have somebody in your life who can help you get rid of that which you don't want to hold on to anymore. Yes, that lint clinged to my clothes, and then it went in the dryer, and now it's going to be disposed of. We can take what is inside us that is hurting us, that eats at us. Something that eats at us, like a grudge. Someone who has hurt us, who perhaps has not taken the Yom Kippur steps to apologize. Or someone who has hurt us unknowingly. At this time, we can forgive them as well. We can let go of that as well. Have you heard it said that holding a grudge is like drinking a small amount of poison every day and waiting for somebody else to get sick? This is a time to rid ourselves of those things that we don't want to hold on to. Those slings and arrows, those hurts, those things that have been clinging to us. Whether we receive an apology or not, we can control our own thoughts and feelings. And when we sing Avinu Malkeinu, when we ask God to hear our prayers, the sincerity of that prayer is about what are we willing to let go of. At Tashlich, we let go. We let go of things maybe not just from this year, maybe from previous years. It could be something that's been festering for a long, long time. Jacob and Esau, the twin boys who came from the same womb, who battled their whole lives. They held on to their stuff. And when they could let it go, they reconciled. Yes, read your Bible. Jacob and Esau reconciled. Isaac and Ishmael reconciled. People who were at odds with each other did reconcile. But if they couldn't, each of them could have the responsibility to let go of something. As we offer prayers with words, we can also acknowledge that words are limiting. That's why when somebody passes away and we tear a garment, whether it's a small ribbon or a piece of clothing, we tear a garment, it's a physical, emotional act that could be sadness, could be anger, could be rage, could be resentment, but it's a physical act. On Rosh Hashanah, we hear the sound of the shofar, which is a wordless, not a melody, not a tune, not a beautiful sound. It's almost like a scream. Ah! To get out that emotion. And so tonight on Tashlich, we have a young man, Andrew Shuman, who's been helping in our Hebrew school, and he is going to blow the shofar for us with one big Tekiah Gedolah, and it's not a prayer, it's not a word, it is an emotional blast that perhaps can help us bring out that schmutz that we're ready to let go of. Andrew, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello.
Rabbi, you're muted. All right, Andrew, go for it. Tekiah Gedolah.
I think I'm gonna need to stand up for this.
All right. Can you step back a little bit so we can see you?
Yeah. Let's see if.
Yeah, that's good.
You can hear me?
Yep. that wailing was exactly as I was teaching about that emotional blast of that wail. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu avinu malkeinu. Yasher Koach, Andrew, thank you very much. And now, with that wordless prayer, we now offer a healing prayer of Misha Berach, as Jeanne will sing the first stanza, and then I'll offer the names that people have given me, and anyone who would like to add into the chat other names to be added, and then we'll conclude. Go ahead, Jeanne.
Misheberach avoteinu mekor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
We ask for healing for Alice Kaufman, Arnold Farber, Bela Batmeda Brina. Oh, is somebody muted? Is somebody unmuted? No. Bela Batmeda Brina, Brian Goldberg, Bruce Kofrin, Kay Rebus, Chuck Thrall, Betty Given, Dale Vine, Bob Pennington, David Ben Shani, David Keith, Judy Muse, Floyd Truitt, Frida Beeler, Ida Silverstein, Iris Kelly, Irma Freudenreich, Jane Wills, Jennifer Sinigliaro, John Bassett, Joaquin Correa, John Miller, John Van Natta, Judith Kahn, Lawrence Levy, Lisa Struzand, Lisa Lappin, Louise Pennington, Doris Savage, Malka Batyeta, Minette Farber, Marilyn Padveen, Neil Davis, Nola Hines Brody, Norm Bader, Olabasi Solome, Paul Varner, Press Holcomb, Philip Gutman, Rhoda Dubin, Roger Given, Richard Sanders, Richard Weisberg, Ron Feller, Rose Lerner, Rosalind Mandel, Rivka Bat Shoshana, Sandy Kurlander, Sandra Brooks, Sheila Schumann, Stacy Parker, Susan Berger, Steve Stapleton, Tom Graff, Tadras Ben Shani, Vicky Van Natta. Anyone else have a name they would like to add to the chat? For the names that have been said and the names that haven't been said. For those we have the courage to say aloud or to type into a chat. For those we have the discretion to say silently in our hearts. For all those for whom we pray and those who have no one to pray for them, may all our prayers be heard.
Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing. with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And Jeanne, thank you for adding so much to our service tonight. You really put your heart into it. We acknowledge our yard sites for the month of September. They include Faye Cohn Graham, Matthew Munger, Tom Terrio, Carol Winter, Jacob Halpern, Annie Minks, Tracy Tobin Johnson, Lee Salkin, Martha Weisberg, Joseph Lewis, Barney Gordon, Scott Sard, Karen Finn, Sarah Winsberg, Jack Ballin, Clyde Blumen, Amerigo Stritzi, James Smith, Jaime Zarazuski, Jeff Reed, Edith Koresh, Stephen Stapleton Jr., Harry Preuss, Wanda Preuss, Ruth Murky, Rose Saslaw, Jack Ballin, Rilda Royal, Stephen Stapleton Sr., Joseph Gordon, Rose Weiss, David Keston, Maxine Davis. Have I missed any yard sites? We also acknowledge those who've passed away more recently, including Joni Levy's brother and Mary Rappaport, Alex Polak, a Holocaust survivor who lived in Humble, Mark Berkowitz, and of course, we all have heard that last Friday, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Justice of the Supreme Court, or Justice of the Supreme Court, a leader in women's rights, a leader as a Jewish woman. I had the opportunity to observe part of her funeral, and the rabbi spoke very nicely. Our hearts go out to everybody who is feeling a loss at this time, and however you're accustomed to say Kaddish, Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Ba'alma divrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala u'vizman kariv v'yamru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mavarach le'olam omei amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, Shemei dekudesha b'riachu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran bi'alma v'yamru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'yamru Amen. Also holding in our hearts another person who passed away not too long ago, Mirta Morquin. And so we do have simchas. We have happy things to celebrate. Who's got a simcha to celebrate, either in the chat room or by unmuting yourself? Wesley, I think you got a simcha, don't you?
I'll say it for him. It was his birthday.
Yes, it was his birthday this week, but he's got another simcha.
Well,
unless you don't want to announce it too soon.
yeah, I'm moving to Kingwood.
Yay!
Hey.
Yes, he got a house in Kingwood. Janet gave a tapping, an EFT presentation, or she's going to give I'm assuming it's on Zoom or a virtual. Tapping is a therapeutic A therapeutic method, the Janet Sisler.
Medallions turned 23.
Oh, what do you got, Leah?
1 minute.
I turned 23.
You turned
Medallions.
23?
Yeah,
You're 23?
I 24, I mean.
24. 24.
20.
How about the password?
Medallions turned 24.
Yeah.
Oh, Idali's turned 24. Oh,
Yeah, how about the password?
I thought, Leah, you said that you were 24. Now Idali's is 24. Wow. Hey,
I'm
wow.
always sick.
I think that means you've been coming to the temple for a good 8 years or so, because Idalise was a lot younger when she first started coming. Very nice.
Toby,
Very nice.
Toby, stop it.
I got a blessing of my own. I for the first time I led high holiday services on a recording, and I'd much rather have you there. But it was an exciting adventure, and I hope it turns out to be fulfilling for everybody. Other blessings? Other blessings. So for all of our blessings, we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'achiyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, God, ruler of all, who keeps us in life and sustains us, enabling us to reach these times. This is an amazing time. We could have really said, okay, we can't come to the synagogue, and so we're not going to observe Shabbat or holidays. But we didn't. We had more. We still have. I don't think we've had a Shabbat with fewer than 30 different devices since we started. I'm very, very proud of everybody who's been able to log on. I hope we're all having enriching online services, and I think that's a blessing for all of us that we're able to do it and come together. And God willing, once we're back in the sanctuary, we'll take some of these skills that we know and help broadcast services to people who aren't able to drive at night, or who can't come, or who are just too tired and they want to spend Shabbat resting but still hearing the service. So that's a blessing. And what do we have coming up? Of course, Sunday morning, the children's service, children and family service. It's wonderful. I hope the kids got a chance to see it. We have a special guest at the children and family service. Her name is Miss Eve, and she brings her friend Leo, and they've got a special thing to teach for Yom Kippur. All of the services are going to be posted on our website, so if you want to relive it, or if you missed part of it, or like my father, if you fell asleep during part of it, you can relive it. Yom Kippur morning is going to be the children and family service, but if you want to watch it on Yom Kippur, it's going to be repeated on Monday morning as well. Those are both at 9:30. The main service starts at 10:30, and we're going to take a break. And during that break at 1 o'clock, Rabbi Jimmy Kessler, in fact, I spoke to him again today. He's very excited. That is going to be not pre-recorded. That's going to be live. He's going to talk about being a Jewish Texan. You'll be able to chat in questions. He's got some great stories from, he's lived all his life as a Texan. He calls himself an Alta Kacher. Those of you who know Yiddish can translate that. We're going to have a special service for Sukkot, the Friday, October the 2nd. Still figuring out what that's going to look like, but I'll figure something out. But Simchat Torah, October 9th, we're bringing back the Yedidia family band. Yakira and her husband Aaron and her 3 daughters are going to bring in a festive Simchat Torah for us. And so we're really, even though, I mean, this Zoom, Yakira said to me after the first service she did with us, she said, virtual is the new spiritual. We can still reach our hearts during this time. And so I'm going to offer you a blessing before our final Oseh Shalom. Shema Kolenu Adonai Eloheinu. Ruach HaOlam, hear our voice, O Lord our God, Spirit of the world, as we move forward from one holiday to the next. Let us remember the importance of preparing ourselves for Yom Kippur, from taking the inspiration from Rosh Hashanah and going into Yom Kippur. But let us also remember that as important as it is to live our lives properly from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, to live our lives properly from Yom Kippur to Rosh Hashanah. For it's the beginning of a new year and a new way to let go of what we don't want to hold on to so we can be open for what we do. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. God blesses you and protects you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yehuneka. God's face shines upon you and is gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. God's presence is with you to give you peace. We all say, Amen. May the Holy One who makes peace in the heavens grant peace to us, to all Israel, and to all humanity. Take it away, Jeanne.
Oh, oh, say shalom, v'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ave'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oh, say shalom, v'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, V'imru, amen. Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yakol Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yakol Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yakol Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yakol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
Amen v'amen. And I did one more announcement or a couple more announcements. If you have any trouble with the internet, go ahead and call the temple number. It is forwarded to Stacy's phone and she will answer it. If you did not get a chance to get a prayer book, there are prayer books available on the back porch of the synagogue. And I did miss a couple of names in the September yard site. I apologize for that. I think it was the parents of Danny Pillman and Gail Ambrose. So if you'll get me those names, I'll add them to the September list. And so we here, I've got it here. Savrei l'chaim, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, borei peri hagafen. Praise be to God, creator of the world, who brings us fruit from the vine. Amen. And instead of hamotzi tonight, I'm going to say a blessing for apples and honey. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam borei peri ha'etz. Blessed are you, God, creator of the world, who brings us fruit from trees. For a sweet year, gonna have a little bit of apple and honey. Delicious. And now, anybody who wants to unmute, say Shabbat Shalom, and we'll visit here for a little bit.